Let's bring this together. Evidence. What is evidence? Evidence can be broken into 4 sections. Don't forget, it is your responsibility to give evidence. English speakers don't believe you. And again, it's not your character, it's not your person, it's just the fact that people get fired very quickly in English-speaking companies. So evidence. You can have anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence is a true story. So we're going to say things like, as an example. As an example, last month, the customer team had a problem with the client. Da, 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 da. Whenever you tell a story, make sure it's a true story and make sure you include who the story is about, when it happened, and what happened. Answer as many what questions as you can. What, why, who, where, when, how. Try to answer as many of those as you can when telling the story. The more what, why, who, what, why, where, when, how questions you answer, the more believable the story is. Here's a bad example. As an example, we sometimes have complaints from customers. Well, when? Sometimes? Not enough for me. Complaints from customers about what? It's not enough. Here's a better example. As an example, last month, we got over 27 complaints from customers in the Osaka region. That is much more believable and it tells the story better. So whenever you're telling a story, this is called anecdotal evidence, use the phrase as an example and try to give what, when, and who. Who's in the story, when did it happen, and what happened. Quantitative data, factual evidence, numbers, these are really powerful. Use these to support your case, but do not get these numbers from Wikipedia. I was asked to judge a high school competition a few years ago, and all of the data came from Wikipedia. Yeah, maybe that's okay, but Wikipedia is not considered a good source of information. Make sure you check the sources at the bottom of the page. So, factual data. Expert opinion. Expert opinion, sometimes we say source of truth. If some expert has an opinion on this topic, this can also be strong evidence too. Obviously, you have to judge the quality of the expert. So Nick, me, maybe I'm an expert on, I hope, on strategic communications for executives, but I am not an expert on choosing a gift for a girlfriend. That is not my expert opinion area. So be very careful about who you choose as your expert opinion or as your source of truth. But of course, the source of truth could be media. It could be CNN, it could be Yomiuri, whatever media that you trust. Explanation on the left-hand side. Explanation is just you telling more of a story. This is the weakest type of evidence. It's the weakest type of evidence. So for the anecdotal evidence, as an example, when the story happened, where it happened, who it happened to, what it happened, what happened. So as an example, just last month in our Osaka office, our head of customer service had a complaint from a client about da, 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 da. That is a really good story. Here's a bad story. As an example, recently we had a complaint from a customer. Tell me the specifics. When we talk about numbers, we can say the data show that. Just nice and simple. Any kind of numbers, okay. The data show that. You can also use your source of truth here. The BBC report that. Our customer survey shows that. The data show that. But use a number. The data show that 70% of customers are unhappy with this. The data show that 1 in 2 customers, 50%, love this solution. Or if you have a source of truth, if you have this expert opinion, then say according to. Yeah, according to Daily Yomiuri, according to the Japanese government, according to the World Health Organization, according to Barack Obama, according to Nick Faulkner. Don't use me as a source of truth, except for these topics in the webinars. Explanations are very weak, so be very careful about using them. You're just telling more of a story. All right, so now let's take a look at the final stage. How do we put this story together? Wow, now we've got this beautiful house. We've got a roof of our point, we've got a problem statement in our point, and then we've got walls supporting our signposts with our reasons, and then we have the evidence. And you can really see it like this. The evidence is the foundation. The foundation is underground. So in Japan, we have some of the world's best architecture. Why? Because we have earthquakes. When we have earthquakes, sadly, buildings in many other countries would be destroyed. But in Japan, we have great architecture, great building structures. So we stand up strong. And a big part of that is the foundation. The foundation is we dig deep into the ground. So in Shinjuku, Nishi Shinjuku, for example, I used to live in a tower mansion. That's a great area because it's very strong rock and we dig deep underground. So evidence is like your foundation. Everything below the surface is the thing that's going to hold you strong. So look at my structure now. I've got my problem statement, I've got my point, and then I've got my signpost level, my reason level, and my evidence level. And I put them here, I put them nice and simple. I'm going to use the example from before. So the e-commerce problem. So the conversion rate's too low. We need to optimize the checkout stage. So simplification. Reason, customers feel there are too many steps. Evidence, factual, 80% of customers never reach the final step. That's our evidence. That's our evidence that we have to support that reason, to support that signpost. Everything is supporting up to support the roof. Next one, payment choices. Reason, we don't offer some payment options that many customers overseas use. Again, I've used factual evidence. 75% of customers prefer to use PayPal when buying overseas. This is not true, I imagine. Security. So reason, customers can't feel the checkout stage is safe. Expert opinion. And I'm going to use expert opinion as the customers themselves. They are the experts for our business. And customers told us that trust was the biggest barrier to buying from the website. I know this topic very, very well because I deal a lot with this kind of business, e-commerce, but these are some real examples. So now let's put it in a true story, right? So factual evidence, we're going to say our data show that, or a recent report show that. And for the expert opinion, we're going to say according to. So what's the source of truth? Now, let's do this completely perfectly. We're going to start with the problem, then we're going to state the point. Then we're going to break it down into 3 signposts. Then we're going to focus on signpost 1, reason 1, evidence 1. Signpost 2, reason 2, evidence 2. Signpost 3, reason 3, evidence 3. Here we go. All right, guys, good afternoon. Here's my meeting, Nick. One of the issues we're having is that our conversion rate's too low on the website. So we need to optimize the checkout stage. We can break this challenge into 3 key areas: simplification, payment choices, and security. So firstly, in terms of simplification, customers feel there are too many steps. Our internal data show that 80% of customers never reach the final step. Further, when we consider payment choices, we don't offer some payment options that overseas customers use. A recent report we saw shows that 75% of overseas customers want to use PayPal when buying overseas. So finally, and most importantly, looking at security, customers just can't feel safe at the checkout stage. And according to our recent July customer survey, customers reported trust as the biggest barrier to purchasing. So we need to optimize the checkout stage from now. If you have any questions, let me know. So notice what I did is at the end, I just repeated my main point again. I kind of made a sandwich, right? This strategy is the solution to stopping people from saying, so what? It only took me about 1 minute, about maybe 90 seconds to say everything. 60 to 90 seconds, I did everything. But in that 90 seconds, people heard the problem, they heard my main point, they heard 3 signposts about what I want to fix, they heard a journey of the topic, the reason, and then the evidence. And then the topic, the reason, the evidence, the topic, the reason, the evidence. And then one more time at the end, they heard me repeat my main point. This is your key to stopping people saying, so what? And it needs a bit of preparation. But the better you get at this, you can be faster. All you've got to think about is build this house every time you want to make a point in English. Problem statement, point, and then have your signposts, have your reasons, and then have your evidence, just like that.